finishing my breakfast. Excuse me. Some of humankind's greatest creative endeavours have originated out of jokes. Take, for example, Hector Berlioz and his 1850 Christmas carol entitled The Shepherd's Farewell, which is in 100 Carols for Choirs. This is regarded as one of the seminal collections of Christmas carols that choirs use, modern choirs use for Christmas concerts and performances up and down the country. And back in 1850, Hector Berlioz was widely disliked by the Paris critics. They thought his music was too dissonant, was too difficult, and just wasn't the right sort of thing that audiences wanted to listen to. So in response, Berlioz had written this chorus, but instead of claiming it as his own composition, he organised a debut opening performance, the premiere performance of a hitherto unknown composer called Ducret, whom he had claimed to have discovered. Not quite sure how he claimed to have discovered him, but he claimed to have discovered this hitherto unpublished, unknown piece of music from Ducret, and claimed that it was so beautiful that it deserved further publication and performance. The critics all came along to this performance and were absolutely astonished and were completely taken in by the story. They all thought that how had Ducret been kept undiscovered for so long, and it could not possibly, and how Berlioz could have discovered it, having this music completely out of character with the rest of Berlioz's work, and claiming that Berlioz could never have possibly written it himself. Berlioz, of course, was absolutely delighted by the reaction, and delighted himself even further by revealing that in fact it was him that wrote it. Now, what do the shenanigans of a Paris composer in the 19th century have to do with a card game about cryogenic distillation? Well, it also has to be said that, like The Shepherd's Farewell, Xenon Profiteer, designed by T.C. Petty III, also started out life originating from a joke. So the idea for Xenon Profiteer originated from a little joke from a designer's friend. As part of his job, he was proofreading a rule book and found it to be the most dry, boring and badly laid out thing imaginable. That he joked that he was reading the Wikipedia article on how Xenon is produced as a sort of form of light relief, as a form of light entertainment. And the designer, seeing this, decided, right then, okay, you reckon that's boring, I reckon I can design a game around it. And so the idea for creating a deck-building game based around the cryogenic distillation process used to produce Xenon was born.
In a quarter of a mile, enter the roundabout.
That sounds ominous. Enter the roundabout, but where do I get off? Who knows?
Enter the roundabout, then you will arrive at your destination.
Right, fine, okay. Okay. Nothing could be simpler. What could possibly go wrong?
You have arrived.
Wow. A lot of people wanted to get out, not so many people wanted to come in. Ah, spoke too soon. It's a pillar space. I hate pillar spaces. Good job, I've got a tiny, tiny car. prior to playing Xenon Profiteer, there are only two things that I knew about Xenon, or at least I thought I knew. One, xenophobia, as in fear and irrational hatred of any noble gases. And two, Xenon, as it's called in the United States, was so named after a warrior princess. But now having played the game, I think I know a little bit more. For example, did you know that Xenon is used by the government for zero-G propulsion tests and for next ion drives? It is also used in the entertainment industry for such things as cell phone flashbulbs and movie theatre projectors. It's also used in the medical industry, business service, medicine for Xenon's 133 radiochemical gas and UV sterilizers and the xenon chloride Excimer laser. Yeah, the way that the game works and the way the joke works is that TC Petty has completely gone to town on the theme. It really does make you feel as though you're running your own cryogenic distillation part, and part of that is to do with the main core mechanic of the game, which is the deck building, or, well, more appropriately, it's more of not so much a deck builder as a deck pruner. Now, how am I going to get these bloody shelves in my car? Right, now that that's over, I can go home and show you how this game works. Actually, while I'm stuck at a red light, there's probably something I should say. This is a deck building game, and the granddaddy of all deck building games is Dominion. And I think it's something of a first commandment of board game, card game reviewing that thou shalt compare deck building games to Dominion to give your viewers an idea of how it plays in relation to something that they're almost certainly going to know about, because everybody's played Dominion, of course. Only I've never played Dominion. I suppose in some senses that might give me something of an advantage, because I'm not coming at it with any sort of preconceived ideas of what a deck builder
Turn right
might
onto
be.
Conyers Road.
Excuse me. Thank you. But just reviewing and telling you my thoughts and feelings of the game as it plays out of the box, without any of those things. You see, the object of a game of Xenon Profiteer is to distill air. You take in air into your system, which contains xenon, which you want, plus nitrogen, oxygen and krypton, which you don't, and introduce them into your system, which starts out looking like this. This deck of cards over here, which is your system to begin with, which contains 2 packets of air and a couple of little scrubby upgrades, and your central console, to which you will bolt on a load of upgrades to the left and a load of contracts to the right. You also begin the game with 3 coins of indeterminate currency and 5 bidding tokens with your character's face on them. And this is what you use to start out in the wonderful world of Xenon cryogenic distillation. The central part of a turn around which the whole game revolves is a distillation. In a distillation, you are aiming to get rid of everything else except your xenon and leave yourself with some xenon isolated in your hand. However, it's not quite as simple as that. You can only distill one element at a time, and you have to start with the nitrogen, then get rid of the oxygen, then get rid of the krypton. However, there are also a few little cards in your hand that can help you to do this. So, for example, in this instance, we might, instead of getting rid of the nitrogen, we'll just discard it, which is what this card enables us to do, which means we just put it in our discard pile, which means we haven't got rid of it permanently, but it's just out of our hair for the time being. So then we take our normal distillation, and all we've got left is oxygen and xenon, so we can get rid of the oxygen completely out of our system and be left with this beautiful, lovely xenon, which we put in our store right here to be able to fulfill any contracts that come up. Once you finish distilling Xenon, once you've finished the distillation process and hopefully produced yourself some lovely Xenon to complete some contracts later on, you can then take on some more air. This gives you another chance to get Xenon. Unfortunately, coming with it are all the other 3 bits of rubbish that you don't want, farted into your system, clogging it up, but an absolutely necessary process to be able to actually get the Xenon that you want in the first place. In taking on air, you also get 2 more coins of indeterminate currency. The rest of your turn revolves around the contract cards and the upgrades, which you can buy on and bid on, or choose to wipe to refresh them and get a new selection of things to buy, hopefully making your process more efficient and giving you a chance to actually sell some of this Xenon now that you've produced it. Oh God, oh God. Anyway, yes, that's the kind of central puzzle of Xenon Profiteer. Do I have enough Xenon in my system, together with all the other rubbish I've had to stick in there, to be able to produce enough Xenon to be able to meet the contracts that I've taken on? And second to that, do I have enough upgrades and things in my system? No, it's so that I know that when I take a hand of cards, I will most of the time be able to get rid of all the rubbish and filter out this lovely Xenon to be able to store it. And that whole sort of engaging with the puzzle, you can also take overtime turns to do 2 loads of distillation if you're really desperate to be able to isolate some Xenon and you've got too much rubbish in the way. It just creates a really nice puzzle and a really refreshing game experience that taxes your brain, starting off simple and gradually building up as your system evolves and the machine that you build actually starts to work in front of your eyes. It's really quite nice, actually. Right, let's get these up the stairs. Oh, good God. This is... oh, God. Did not do this for... oh, God. As the game progresses, your system is going to start looking a little bit like this. It's still got the central console, it's still got the drawer and the discard pile on top of it, but to the left of it are the upgrades, and this is where the iconography really comes into its own and is really intuitive, even though there's quite a lot to remember at the start of the game. Upgrades are connected by the blue connectors. There's a blue connector on this side, the blue connector on that side, which means any other upgrade that I buy and decide to install by paying its buy and install costs can just be connected on the side. But contracts, on the other hand, once you've got a contract on the go, you can't just simply take another one. Oh no, because this does not connect up to that side there, you see. So in order to be able to fulfill a contract, in order to be able to take another contract, excuse me, I have to be able to make good on the one I've already got, which is going to be difficult. I've only got one there, but let's say I've got the rest of the Xenon I need. That means I can turn the contract over, and there you go. It's now connected up on the right hand side, meaning I can take another contract again. It's these little touches that just make learning Xenon Profiteer a process which could be difficult, but actually turns out to be fairly simple and intuitive. One of the other little gems in this game, which I really have to mention, is the rulebook, especially given that the joke that provided the inspiration, that provided the impetus behind the creation of the game idea, was this boring rulebook that his friend was proofreading. And the rulebook, or should I say the system manual version 3.2 of Xenon Profiteer is fantastic. It's got extra little jokes in there. It's really clearly laid out. explains exactly what you need to do, explains all the way that the cards connect together and that you build up your system from tiny beginnings, and even has care and handling instructions for how not to blow yourself up in a cryogenic distillation plant. In the end then, I would say Xenon Profiteer, despite the boringness of the theme that you see on the surface, is a really good game with a lot of thematic depth. You see, despite the boring first impressions, this really goes to town on the theme, which is one of the things that I think makes the joke that originated so good, because it's like when in a comedy film you've got the sort of comedian that says everything really wacky and out there, and you've got Xenon Profiteer, which says the joke in a really deadpan way, and it comes across. And the depth that T.C. Petty III has gone to create, to get such thematic depth out of the distillation process of Xenon is quite remarkable. I really enjoy this game. I really enjoy playing it with friends, particularly those who have a science or engineering background, and it will forever take a special place on my game shelf.